started off with lyric video to Paint the Future. Since it's a lyric video, I kind of want to go into details of more along the music of everything. It was the first time I heard straight up bars being spit in a death metal song. So
Faster than Eminem.
Yeah, I was pushing Ollie to do that. Eminem challenge for a while. Eminem had a challenge out that was like, well, I can't remember. It was called the Godzilla challenge. I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, like he's not only a good like death metal vocalist. You know, you have to like that kind of style, even though he's really, as far as I can tell, the only vocalist that does exactly that style. Yeah. But he's not only that, but he's also a great rapper. Like you can hear, I've heard him rap many times. It's like he's really good at it, just with a no distortion, no death metal tone. Just he does a great Ice Cube impression. He does a great Tech Nine impression. Like he's really good at it, and he bases all of his vocal styles around the same principles that they have. So too many S's in a sentence make you slow down. Too many consonants all in a row or too difficult. So not only do you have to write music that's fast, you also have to then write vocal patterns that are fast, and then you have to adapt lyrics to them, and then you have to make the lyrics sort of make sense. I mean, it's a whole process. I don't envy that process. Playing guitar is one thing. You have the riffs and you have the solos and, but it kind of ends there. You know what I mean? But with the vocals, you have to be there during the writing because he's a big part of our writing process. Yeah. And then we put in these vocal patterns, and then he puts the lyrics in. Right. And we actually ended up recording the album, I would say a good 2 or 3 times before we even went to record in the studio, just because we wanted to do so much pre-production. So I heard those lyrics a lot, and as they were forming and as they were sort of getting better, and then we'd go back, it's like, that line, it's got too many syllables in it, we got to take it out. But it's not that simple. You got to take out an integral part of the sentence that might make it make less sense or whatever. It's a whole thing,
right? Finishing the idea essentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's funny you bring up the Ice Cube and Tech Nine thing, because as I was listening to it, just that rhythm and that kind of impact of the enunciation of what he's doing and stuff, I picked up on that. It's like, that's definitely, it made a lot of sense whenever you brought Ice Cube and Tech Nine up. Yeah. And I'm not surprised it goes that in depth with the detail of it, because all of you are fantastic musicians. I mean, I'm a musician myself, and I'm picking apart every little thing I'm hearing, and just I can't even imagine writing something like that.
Yeah,
a lot of technicality.
I can tell you the process. By the way, your mic is cutting out a little bit for me. It's sort of dipping. It's dipping.
It's
doing a lot of dipping. It's doing a lot of like good, and then gone. And then it'll be back a little bit, and then it'll be gone. So I don't know if that's on my end, but I'll give you a second there if there's anything you can do on your end. Otherwise, I can just keep talking like a fucking idiot.
I watch you sweep, and I just don't want to ever pick up a guitar again.
Yeah, the sweeping. We've definitely done a lot less of that. I don't know if your audience is specifically musicians, guitarists, or whatever, but the sweeping is definitely integral to the genre. But it's more and more novelty that we'd like to put in there when we want to make something sound really crazy. But there, at the end of the day, it really is easier than a lot of things that we've been doing lately. Lots of alternate picked, like 2-note per string across big string skipping sections. That stuff is real tough. But the sweeping sort of, once you get it, then you're like, okay, I got it. I'll do a couple different shapes. I get like 10 shapes. I was like, well, I don't really need many more shapes than that,
So are you talking about hybrid picking?
That too, yeah. The hybrid picking I put in, and Toby has more recently, but has still for quite a while, been doing a lot of that. And that's, of course, where you use your pick in your right hand, but you also use the other fingers on your right hand as additional picks. I've been doing that for maybe like 7 or 8 years, and I don't know what the hell I was doing before. Like, why was I not doing that? Like, it doesn't. So it makes things so much easier. Like, there's a learning curve to it, but the amount of endurance, or your endurance goes up, your accuracy goes up. The stuff that you can play gets crazier and weirder, and the intervallic stretches between them get bigger, and it's things you just could never do. And it also helps a lot with muting. There's a lot of things about it that are great, but sweeping is at like the top of like, oh, that's the craziest sounding thing. But if you go a little bit lower down in the crazy sounding stuff, you're like, oh, that alternate picked run is actually, that's the tricky part, or something like that.
I love on the styles and everything in Bleed the Future. There was several parts on there where it would just stop out of nowhere and then kick back up again. And honestly, when the song started up, I thought I'd messed something up, and I thought it started playing in the middle of the song. So it like literally just punches you right in the nuts right away.
Mm-hmm.
I was a fan of that.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I mean, we definitely want, like, we use the silences in a way to sort of boost the impact of those heavy parts. So we found that the most impressive thing that our band that are like, when we go see another band, the most impressive thing that we see other bands do is really solid starts and stops, or shots, or sections where there's big gaps and everybody comes back in on a specific time. That's the most impressive thing. That's the stuff that sticks out to you the most. A crazy solo can sound great, but your whole song can't be a full solo. So, those starts and stops are pretty important. Yeah, sure.
All right. Can you hear us pretty well?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly well.
And now we can hear you perfectly well. Awesome.
Oh, there was issues before.
Yeah, like I said, I'm trying to run this the computer audio through our mixer, our headphone distributor mixer, and for some reason, if you bump the plug just a certain way or something like that, it just throws it completely off. So you kind of have to half-ass cock it in there in a certain way. I don't know. This is a pain.
There's a joke in there somewhere, but I won't make it.
Sorry, Dean.
Yeah, apologize.
What the hell was I blathering on about? Doesn't matter. Does some stupid thing. I'm sure I was just talking my ass off. Doesn't matter.
Well, we were first talking about the sweep picking, and then he went into a couple of different.
Yeah, you're talking about hybrid picking,
yeah,
and then some of the lower registered stuff that's not sweeping is actually some of the more spicy things.
I was in the process of alienating like 90% of your audience. That's all good. That's all good. Don't worry about it.
Honestly, we don't know much about our audience, whether they're musicians or not. We're mostly like we just have a lot of people that like funny reaction videos, and apparently we make people laugh.
Oh yeah, you know. Did you guys ever watch the video that we did, the Shreds video, where we overdubbed our own performance with like the worst sounding instruments?
No.
Oh yeah, okay.
I'll check it out.
But you know, like the Creed shreds, like all those videos, like the Metallica shreds. Yeah, so we just did that, but we were during the writing of this album, we took like a week off, and we're like, you know what, we're gonna focus all of our efforts on just this one dumb idea, and we spent so much time. I added in every time Jared moved on stage. We took like really, like, it was us playing at Hellfest 2019, so it was like huge crowd, really professional video, looks awesome, and we just muted it and just added the worst audio possible and put it up as like our live performance thing.
Oh yes, I did see that.
Yeah,
I did see that. That was hilarious.
Yeah, we called it the world's fastest band, and yeah, it's just so bad. And so the month after that came out, we had a few people put up reaction videos of that, and as we were watching it we went down to Las Vegas to play a conference for the Unstoppable Recording Machine website, and I watched a reaction video of somebody, and they're saying, man, this band is not very good. Like, I don't, no, how are they playing such a big show? Like I mean, the drumming is like not bad, but like the guitar playing is really bad. That's like, what's really funny about that is that when you watch the video, you only hear the instrument that's on the screen at that time. So, it's so like not at all real. Like you watch it and you're like, well, of course this isn't real. Why would the drums be muted as soon as the guitar is shown on screen? Like it doesn't make any sense if you think about it for even just a second. But lots of people really didn't like it, and lots of people were like, man, this band sucks. It's like, one of my favorite comments is, man, has anybody shown the band this? This is hilarious. And it's on our YouTube channel. It's like, dude, look up, dude. It says Archspire on the channel. We made it, dude. But it was good. That was a fun time.
Oh, gosh. Is there anything memorable that you ran into, any issues-wise, with Bleed the Future?
Sorry, one more time. Sorry, your mic cut a little bit.
Was there any like roadblocks or any kind of hardships with trying to figure out the song "Bleed the Future"?
The song,
yeah,
specifically that song.
Yes.
That song was in terms of guitar and drums. It's pretty straightforward. Also, although very very fast. So for me, that's an easy song. I'm like, sweet. That comes on, I'm like, fucking all good. It's every other fucking song on the album that I regret writing.
We'll get to the next one.
Okay. So yeah, well, that specifically that song, that main riff, whatever. I'm great at. Wow, my guitar vocals are great. The main riff is just the main riff is just simple. It's got some time signature changes, but whatever. But the guitar is simple, but the bass is like insane tapping the entire time, and the drums are full speed, and then every vocal line is really fast, but the guitar is just having a chill time. That song, I'm grateful that we wrote that one, and I feel a little bit like, I feel kind of weird about playing this because this is definitely the easiest song, although endurance is required, a lot of endurance. Like I said, it's every other song that we wrote that is pushing my sort of abilities as a guitarist. So we have a show tomorrow. We have 2 shows this weekend, actually, as of the time of this recording. I hope that's okay to blow up the date and time of recording this. And we're playing our first shows in 2 years, which sounds crazy when I say it. And then I just stop talking for like a second. I'm like, first show in 2 years. Okay. Wait, that's like unreal. I mean, I have never gone 2 years without playing a show in my adult life. You know what I mean? Like never. So it's very surreal. It's not a, so, but we're practicing for those shows this weekend, and the song
is that
Golden,
the album release shows?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah. The song Golden Mouth of Ruin, that's the one that's very punishing. And I'm like waking up with a cold sweat at night, being like, oh God, like I gotta. So I just put too much stuff in it, And now the other songs that we play from the older albums, those ones I'm like, oh, those are easy now. Because in comparison, this new one is like just so much more difficult. It's definitely the most difficult album on the song for guitar. I can't speak for anybody else, but at least for my guitar part.
Well, I mean, that's kind of a way to grow, though. I mean, in a sense, because you're essentially setting your own bar higher, and then you're going to get used to doing that. So naturally, you're going to do the same shit again on the next album, raising the bar even higher.
Yeah.
It's just growing as a guitarist, right?
Yeah, we might just do a cover album next. Yeah, I mean, you're right. The bar has to go up, and I think everybody in the band did a great job of pushing themselves in that direction. And it's our second album writing with our bass player Jared Smith, and he just comes up with the craziest bass lines underneath our riffs, like really nuts, that complement them quite a bit. And what I like to say is that, he talks about he's got a degree in jazz. He's got a jazz degree. And I'm like, you know what's crazy, dude? Is that you have that fucking jazz degree and you and I make the same amount of money. It's fucking crazy, dude. I'm like, we're both loading this amp up the stairs, but you have a degree and I don't. That's pretty like, isn't that weird when you think about it? It doesn't make him too happy when I say that, but the reality is that he actually gets paid less. So we just lie to him about how much we all get paid. So if you just, nobody's gonna hear this, right? I thought this isn't being recorded. Okay, yeah. So we've been ripping him off for years. And it's been going great, you know? It's been going really great. So, yeah.
Well, I will say something to to his playing. You know, I picked up that he was doing a lot of technical stuff. I mean, there was even a part where I stopped the video and was asking Paul, I was like, was that a bass solo right there?
Mm-hmm.
And it was. I mean, essentially, it was a short part, but like you're saying, he's not overselling it. He's locked it in. It is in the pocket, but at the same time, it's highlighting a very awesome skill that he has. You know?
Yeah. He that diploma allowed him to really highlight my parts without standing in front of me. So he stands behind to support me. And that's been great. So the money that, I don't know, tens of thousands of dollars, I don't know how much it was, a lot. It really worked out well in my favor, which has been really great. So nice. I appreciate that a lot. That being said, my wife Claine is currently going back to school for music, and now that's a worthwhile endeavor for sure. What she's doing is great. What she's doing is awesome. Fully support her, but she didn't go the jazz route. So we're sort of where the jazz kind of comes in. I'm like. Jazz. Jazz. Yeah. It's a little bit, it's a little bit. It's not my preferred style of music to study. I'm definitely more of like a classical music kind of guy, but not that you have to
there's
choose.
A lot of breaks, split offs of that between a lot of metal musicians. You're either really classical or you're more jazzy.
Yeah.
I'm more jazzy.
I'm more classical.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. The jazz theory that I've learned, using modes, like you can take bits and pieces of each and combine them into a cool thing. Like I like the idea of classical phrasing and classical chord progressions, and counterpoint and all this. But I really like the modal theory of jazz. So you have classical phrasing with using, modes of melodic minor. So you combine those two things together and you get sort of a classically weighted sound, but using some types of theory that you wouldn't necessarily use in classical music. Like modes are not really, man, this is boring. Modes are not really a thing in classical music. Sorry. Modes are sort of a thing. They talk about chord progressions and key signatures and stuff, but they don't necessarily go into, Mixolydian flat 6 or something like that. It's not, you know what it is, but it's not as pushed as it is in jazz, which is, I love that type of stuff. And then you combine that with some, hey, if you want our new album, we rip off Mozart yet again. Always ripping him off. He did a great job, so now we can just take all that and, it's been a real cash cow for us. No,
at this point, aren't we just all ripping off everybody now?
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right, and and that's fine. And I don't care.
Rebrand,
really.
Right.
Yeah,
rebrand.
Yeah. I don't
it's
really
all the same 12
care.
months, right?
The idea of being like purely original or whatever, it's like, fuck. It doesn't, you want to write music that people like and you put your own spin on it if you can. And what else you're not going to say, oh, somebody wrote these notes before. That gives a shit. Doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like we ripped off a bit of Mozart last album, the album Relentless Mutation, from his Confutatus Maledictus, the movement from Requiem. And I guess so did Children of Bodom 15 years ago. And lots of people were like, "Oh, you guys are covering Children of Bodom." I'm like, I didn't even heard that song, but people say it. I'm like, well, that's cool. I mean, of course they're gonna rip it off. We're gonna rip it off. I'm sure other bands have already done it. It's a great section to do that. It translates really well to the guitar. So, fuck it. Who cares?
All right, so we got to talk to you also about our second reaction video that we did was obviously Drone Corps Aviator.
Mm-hmm.
That looked like a blast to film, quite literally.
Yeah, that was a very fun one to do. It was months of preparation for that video, and if you haven't seen it, basically, I mean, go watch it, please. But because it costs us a lot of money.
We've watched it.
We will push that.
Yeah,
great. It was an idea that our vocalist Ollie had, and I mean, honestly, like, everybody in the band has ideas, everybody contributes, but when you get like a real specific something that kind of clicks, like, generally the best ideas come from Ollie. Like, he just has like a brain for putting two ideas together in a way where you're like, oh, that's fucking great. It's just some of those brain. It's just like, maybe it's years of drinking and they sort of misfire and neurons hit out. I don't know. But anyway, so when he's sober, he has these awesome ideas, and so he had an idea because basically there's this show coming out. I don't know if he can even talk about it, but there's a show coming out that his brother and his girlfriend were both working on. It's a TV show filmed in Vancouver, where a bunch of heads explode. Lots and lots of heads explode. And so the shop that they had, the shop that they work at, they had this head exploding machine. It was like a hydraulic thing. It was like a wooden box, and you put a head, like a bust on it, and then you fill the head full of bloody, gory-looking toilet paper dye stuff. You fill it full of all this stuff, and then you shoot pressurized air through it, and it makes it look insane. Like, it absolutely like ruptures the whole brain. It looks awesome. So Ollie's idea was like, why don't we just have a video where at the end all of our heads explode? And so I'm like, okay, that's like, we're on to something, but it's like not. It's not like anything yet, but it's like, man, it's like something. So we all got together as a band, and we're like, let's come up with an idea on how we can use that effect. So a couple of us had an idea that we're lab experiments getting, we're all being subjected to the craziest sound or the craziest music or something like that. And so we're like, okay, now we kind of have a thing where we all have a death scene, an individual death scene. We all have special effects going on, and we're being tested. It's like lab experiments, and we can tie it into the story that way through the lyrical concepts. And so we found a director in Vancouver named Rob Zawistowski, and he and his co-writer Mitch, they came up with this story based on graphic novels and the Blade movies, and based on all these lyrics. And we put it together in a way where there was like this evil villain, and he's controlling this freaky looking lab with these scientists that are plugging things into us. And, so Toby and I were basically in this brick room for the video, and they said that it's the idea behind it is like we're in a giant microwave. So it's all red, and we're spinning around like a revolving sort of thing. Jared, our bass player, is strapped up to this gurney, and he's getting things plugged into his neck. Spencer,
that was freaky.
Yeah, Spencer, our drummer, has all this black liquid going through his arms and his veins and stuff.
So cool.
And then Ollie, our vocalist, is he's hanging upside down like the 50 Cent video, like the Into Club video. Yeah. And so
I was gonna say, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you. I was waiting for the punchline. I was gonna drop that. Go, shorty. But yeah, that's the first thing I thought when I saw it. So,
it's so good. Yeah, cool. Direct ripoff. And and so all those ideas come together in this sort of like quick paced video where we all end up dying. And one of my favorite parts is that for each of us, we all had a kind of a special effect, or two each. But with Ollie, he really wanted to have his head explode, but then for a scene, have him continue to do like vocals and lyrics after So they actually made two. They made two molds of his head, or they made two casts of his head. One that had the entire thing that they blew up, and then the other one that was just the bottom jaw, and there was tubes through it, and they have like somebody with one of the effects artists had their hand inside of it, operating the tongue and moving the whole thing around, making it look like it's doing vocals while it's spurting blood and stuff.
Yeah,
it's like, man, so many. We could have never done that without being directly involved. I mean, Vancouver is huge for film production, right? So we know lots of people in the industry, and it just so happened that, we had the right combination of people being like, hey, we can do this. Well, we're going to do it it's like a passion project. And we found the right director who I fucking still don't understand how this dude did. I don't even know, 4 days that were all 16 to 24 hour days of working on this set, and he had a full film crew, full production that no one complained once. They were there until like 4 or 5 a.m. each day trying to get like all these effects perfect, and everybody was having a good time. It's like, man, I can't go on tour for like a week without being like, I'm tired. And like these guys were like just excited to the very last second of every day. I mean, it's just really, that was inspiring. But man, yeah, the crew and the effects team and the writer and director, cinematographer, those guys, they made that video. We were just there. It felt unreal because there were so many people there to do a dumb thing for us. Like we got there and things were like, okay, we're gonna need you here and here. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, what am I doing here? Like, are you guys? Is this like for somebody else, or like, do you not understand how we're not a big band? Like, we're just, we're a death metal band, like, so, but yeah, it just turned out, it couldn't have turned out better in my opinion.
Oh God.
It was incredible.
The part that you brought up about his head exploding and still going, that's my favorite part of the video.
Yeah.
Like, that made me like lose my shit. I was like, is that still moving?
Yeah, it's a separate piece, and he's got it on his shelf at home now. That lower jaw thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we filmed a bit of a documentary, like a behind the scenes documentary thing for the video, where I had my camera on as much as I could, and that's up on our band YouTube if you want to check out the behind the scenes there. It's pretty cool.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty cool.
You guys did another video that Claine helped shoot, right? Or am I wrong?
Yeah. So that was for our single Golden Moth Ruin. That was the first video that we've ever done, and that was really nerve-wracking for me because, I'm not like, I am a professional videographer, but I'm not really. I mean, like, I do this for a living, but I don't. You know what I mean? It's kind of like weird. Like, I mean,
I would imagine the color blindness kind of hurts a little bit.
Hey, buddy. We got the same shades, bud.
Yeah, it was like, it's weird. So when you take on a project like that, you don't want to fuck it up, but you want to experiment a little bit. And so Claine and I had this idea, and then she helped me because I'm partially colorblind. So I'm like, I need your help with the colors. And she's like a color person. Like she's like, oh, that's this shade. And I'm like, okay, you could be making it up. I have no idea. And
I feel your pain.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you do?
Yeah, bud.
Yeah, it's frustrating, and I have some of those colorblindness, like, yeah, you're talking about the colorblindness glasses?
Yeah, because like one of the first videos I saw of you guys, I just happened to look, and I paused and I looked at my wife, I go, oh my God, Claine just got Dean a pair of those sunglasses, and I'm like, I got the same brand.
Right, sorry, I didn't hear you guys say that. Yes, yeah. So you're a Deuteneuro, is that what they are?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's funny.
Yeah, so not knowing that kind of stuff, so she has to help me with like, okay, this is, I'm getting better with it. I'm started using scopes and using things in Premiere and trying to get better with it. But just the idea behind the video is that I had shot this place before called Black Box Studios, and it's just the biggest all black room in Vancouver. So fill it full of fog, do some cool in-camera lens flaring. Everybody has their own color, 3 shots each, 1 high action, 1 wide shot, add in stuff afterwards. And then I also rented a probe lens, which I used for 1 shot, and I was like, I don't know if I really needed it. I don't know if you guys know, it's like a really long lens that's like super, super macro, and it makes everything look huge. Like you could put it inside of like inside of like a bunch of bananas or something, and they look like buildings going, because they're just, it's so macro. And but I just didn't really work out. But yeah, that was a super fun project. There was no narrative in that video, but it's more like hey, here, we haven't released music in 4 years at this point. Here's our first thing. It's got to be high energy. It's got to be high action. It's got to be, impressive looking. It's got to be memorable. And it's like, this'll do. Like, this'll do good.
Very cool.
So, right, for sure.
That'll probably be the one we react to next from you guys.
Yes.
For sure.
Sorry, what's that?
That'll probably be the next one we react to from you guys.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. That's amazing.
As we were talking about this, I kind of dawned on me how weird of a conversation this might be, considered, we've talked to your wife several times before even saying a word to you.
Oh, yeah.
So we know she's told us things about you, like with the color blindness and stuff like that, and I'm bringing it up, and it's like, oh, he has no idea we had that conversation.
Yeah.
She's the worst too, isn't she? Oh my God, just what an obnoxious person. Jeez.
I bet.
She's the worst. No, she's great. She's actually out of school. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to say that stuff about her.
Right.
I think she's gone.
You have to duck.
Save face.
Yeah, I gotta check to see if the coast is clear.
Yeah. I just want to say, first off, thank you for doing this for us.
Absolutely.
Hey, no problem.
Definitely looking forward to checking out more of your band. And like I said, we're already fans of the YouTube channel.
Thanks.
We love the 4 levels of death metal.
My wife and I, we love it. Absolutely love it.
Oh, that's really nice of you guys. Thank you.
Well, it's really, because it's hysterical. And even when Claine was doing the cooking with Anna, like, that was great too. You know what I mean? But what I like about you guys, with you and your wife, it's like, I tease my wife. I'm like, hey, why don't you maybe try to pick up a song and learn? Like, but that's never going to happen. But I love the fact how you guys go through step by step. Yeah.
Sure.
I'm a humongous Trivium fan. When I saw Matt Heafy on there, with him, Devin Townsend, we both lost our shit. It was really cool for the fact that, like, you guys can do that and not only grow your channel, but obviously, continue with the music that you love to do. It's spot on.
Thanks, man. Yeah, we've got a few in the works right now. I'm just editing one with the band Allegion. So Greg and Mike from that band, and they're a great tech death band. And then we just put out the one with Whitechapel, and that was fun.
Yeah, I saw that. That was great.
And I've got some. I did the dog. Yeah, it was a great one. I've got some in the works right now that are like, I'm like reaching above kind of.
There you go.
I've been in contact with several like bigger metal labels about the show, and I'm like, oh, the PR person for like Nuclear Blast really likes the videos. I'm like, sweet. So can we get him on a marathon anytime? You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. Or it's just like, 100%. Let's just, so I'm pushing for that kind of stuff. Not specifically them, but just, bigger bands, and most of them will say no, and that's fine. But for now, we're just doing the music that we love, and every once in a while we'll get another Devin Townsend or Matt Heafy or Ola Englund, which was very good. Yeah.
Same with Angel Vivaldi.
Angel Vivaldi,
he's amazing.
He's
great.
Freak show.
Yeah. It's been a fun time. It's been out of the pandemic. That was really something that we realized hey, that was all her idea, by the way. I got to give her credit for that. Okay. 100%. She wanted to do a video where we both learn riffs at the same time, and I was like, that's a bad idea. No one's going to watch it. No one's going to enjoy it. It's going to sound cacophonous and bad. It's going to suck. And she's like, you know what? You don't have to edit it. We'll film one. I'll edit it. And I'm like, okay, fine. You can edit it, whatever. And then she put it up, and I was like, well, that was really fun. That was a really nice thing to do together. And I see a lot of potential here. And so we started doing more and more videos together. And then one night I was like, I do this thing where I learn other bands. And I started having I talked to Misha from Periphery. I had him on. And I was like, what if I can combine that with Claine and I to be able to do that together? And then I was like, that's a really fun idea. And it's sort of like the format sort of slowly, now it's like a 25, 30 hour edit each video. I'm like putting all my time into it, but it's like every step of the way is like exactly, oh, we got to have this and the flow has to be right. I've learned so much about editing stuff, and you can excuse me, you can see some of the editing skills that I learned from doing our show have made its way into the band's videos now. I just did a video with where we showed all of our moms our newest music video.
Oh, I did see the
yeah. Nice. So that video, once again, Ollie's idea. Ollie has the genius idea 3 years ago. He's like, let's have all of our moms listen to our music. And I'm like, man, that's too good. I can't say anything to anyone about that because if they might take the idea, I'd be so bummed out. But we need to do that. And it finally just came up. We had this really gory music video, new album coming out. Let's do this video where all of our moms react to our video. And it's just like that, you know, I studied for a few hours on exactly what the reaction format was, cutting back and forth 5 different shots of our moms watching the video, saying goofy things or whatever. And man, that video is like still one of my favorite things I've ever done. Even past albums, whatever. It's like, oh man, watching our moms watch our music video, it doesn't get better than that for me.
Can we react to a reaction video?
Yes, you can, and you should.
I just know, like, that had to have been a like hilarious thing because you know, if I had my mom watch me doing something like that, I mean, I would love it.
Dude, you guys, you gotta check it out. Even if you check it out, just you know, whenever or you know, just man, it was so much fun to do it, and yeah. So I hope you enjoy that one.
Yeah, we'll definitely check out for sure.
All right, man. We don't want to take up too much more of your time.
Well, thanks for having me.
I really appreciate it.
It was a blast. Yes.
Awesome.
Love to have you on again maybe someday. That'd be great.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Just let me know.
Hopefully it'll go a little smoother than this time around.
That's all good. No problem.
I'm still learning.
Yeah, hey. I mean,
we appreciate it.
I look like a giant egg in my videos. I'm sure it'll be great. Just a giant egg. I'm a giant egg here, and I'm glad to be with you guys.
No, mine looks like it's an egg being held up by a beard.
Yeah. We're egg.
I know what you mean.
That's what we are. Great.
All right, man. Well, thanks for stopping
Dean,
by.
it was an absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Have a good night.
All right.
Yeah, later.
Peace. Take care.